Manila Galleon Trade Route Heritage. After Fernando de Magallanes did an expedition to the Philippines, many other expeditions were carried out. But it won't be till the expedition led by López de Legazpi and Andrés de Urdaneta in 1565 that the route was finally established. In November of 1564, the San Pedro Nao, navigated by Urdaneta, sailed from El Puerto de Navidad in New Spain, Mexico. They arrived at the Philippines in February 1565. In June of the same year, they found the sea current of Kuroshibo, also known as Japan Current or Black Tide. This current was important in order to navigate through the Pacific Ocean, west to east. In fact, going from Acapulco to Manila was easier than backwards. This is what made the difference from previous expeditions because it made possible to go back to Acapulco in October of 1565. After this expedition, the Manila Galleon route was established, known also as Nao de China or Galeón de Acapulco. Around 110 galleons navigated during the period from 1565 to 1615. Each galleon had the name of its destination place, Manila Galleons or Acapulco Galeons. Even though Manila was the departing port, lots of products they exported were from China, India, the Middle East, and Japan. Some of these Asian products were Chinese textiles, rugs, gold, Asian wood, ivory, spices, and Asian vegetable products, tobacco, animals, and slaves. On the other hand, from America, gold and silver were the main export, as well as other elementary products and many types of plants. Apart from commercial products, it also carried missionaries, diplomats, emissaries. It was important because it also permitted an exchange of ideas, art, and culture between Asia, America, and Europe. Nowadays, we can see the heritage of this influence. According to the historian Rubén Carrillo, between 10,000 and 20,000 immigrants from various places in South, Southeast, and East Asia, collectively known as Chinos, settled throughout the American territories of Viceroyalty of New Spain. This route also caused the first Asian diaspora in the West. Trade route ended due to corruption, smuggling, piracy, disputes over shares and profits back in Spain, and the achieved independence of Mexico. Although nowadays this route is less known than other trade routes of the moment, it had a major impact on the cultural and social aspects of the regions involved. Our thesis is based on the heritage that this route coined in today's society. On the Asian side of the route, the most demanded product was silver from Mexico and Bolivia. China, one of the most influential economies of the moment, had changed its currency to paper, but the growth of silver value propitiated a change in the country's currency. A reform named Single Whip Law, spreaded by the Ming Dynasty, replaced the paper currency used at the time by the silver imported from New Spain. China's adoption of silver as a currency affected everyone that traded with China or with China through others. The fact that the use of silver started being the main currency of China established a strong relation of dependency towards this route. For the first time, a maritime route had such importance. If a climatic inconvenience drowned the ship filled with silver, it would be an important loss and harm for the merchants and consumers of the goods. If we look at other trade routes of that moment, as for instance the triangular trade route, we can find different approaches of trade. The main aim of the triangular trade route was to impose economic patterns to benefit European countries, such as bringing slaves to the American colonies in order to work on their plantations and other sectors. Although the Manila-Acapulco route did the same, its main goal was to ensure a benefiting exchange on both parts, like the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. As the triangular trade was based on gunboat diplomacy, the Manila Galleon was strengthened by Pacific means that ensured a good relationship between the countries involved. The influence received wasn't imposed, but instead it was welcomed and even promoted. New Spain, today's Mexico, received most of the influences of this trade route. Several examples can be recognized as a heritage of this early modern way of globalization nowadays.
Some examples that we can recognize as a heritage of this ancient way of globalization nowadays are ceviche, which is a Mexican gastronomic dish with a raw fish marinated with species from the region and also mixed with imported species of the Galeon, such as the cilantro. Piñatas. In this case, there is not a clear origin of this influence. Some historians argue that the origin of this is in China, while others defend it comes from the Middle East. But nevertheless, it is known that these folkloric traditions relies on the Galeon's exchange influence. China Poblana. This typical woman's dress was inspired by the clothing of an Indian woman that lived in the Mexican town of Puebla, called Catarina de San Juan. Ceramics and furniture were brought mostly from China and Japan. The Chinese porcelain is one of the most remarkable elements found in Mexico. We can also find Japanese biombos or folding screens with sense of the New Spain inspired by Japanese Namban art. Hand fights gained a huge popularization given the massive amount of people that traveled with this route. Tamarindo. Today known as a popular Mexican sweet, it has its origins in Asia and it was mostly used in India. Cilantro. We can find this herb in a wide variety of Mexican dishes and it has a very important weight on Mexican gastronomy. Palapa. This outdoor housing, originally from the Philippines, formed by a wooden structure and palm leaves, is another clear example of the direct exchange of this trade route. As a social consequence of this trade route, we can find the ethnic group of the Chinos, people of Mexican and Asian descendants. Nowadays, we can find barrios Chinos in several cities around Mexico. In art and literature, we can also find examples of syncretism, such as Asian ceramic characterized by pale blue and white colored tones, with Mexican drawings. El Periquillo Sarmiento, known as one of the first Mexican novels written during the War of Independence, was against Spain. The writer of this novel was part of the ethnic group colloquially called Chinos. In Mexico and also Louisiana, there is a Filipino presence from those times, and it seems that some of the founders of California are Filipino too. The Filipino language, Tagalog, contains more than 5,000 words in Mexican Spanish, including several in Nahuatl. After having analyzed the Manila-Acapulco Galleon trade system, we can see its relevance not only in that period of time, being one of the first global economic systems, but also in the heritage that has left in today's society. How being such important, can we not hear as much about it as other trade systems such as the